That's the amount of water, I think you can see that. That's the amount of water that I'm letting go by the meadow. It's just coming down the Trench Royal, the southern canal, and going over and dropping at the drop structure. It would be going over the water wheel if I had it turning. Pigs aren't acting very hungry this morning. I think they aren't really very hungry, but obediently coming to get the corn. This is that area that I've been trying to drain. I hit rocks right in here, which is an indicator of part of the whatever was built here before, and that water's pretty clear. It's coming up from underneath. Boy, what a slow process it is to get access to it, to drain it. See what I mean about the pig parade? They say, oh, maybe I'll come, maybe I won't. You can see them. Those are little creatures that I don't know what they are. I suppose some kind of insect larvae, maybe. Tiny. Many of them. The last time I ditched this was about 40 years ago, and this is one of those ditches I'm following right there. You might be able to see it. And I remember struggling with the same thing I'm struggling with now back then. What was going on here? Why won't this drain? Why is it hard? I'm thinking that there was, when they logged up on the mountain, they brought in a bunch of stone maybe here to give them a place where they could load their trucks, where the skidder would come. That was also, when they did that, that began to bring water all the way from the woods down along the road that they made, and made this swampy and wet. The pigs don't want to eat it. It seems to be level. It doesn't drain. Well, I'll get it eventually. I don't like having it so wet as it is right now, but it seems like that's a necessary step to get control of this struggle. I'm making ditches like I would up the hill on, you know, dead level, perfectly level, but here I opened a hatch in a hope that I can drain that back there, let the water come down here, and I think I'll do the same thing. I'll open a hatch to the left so I can keep draining toward the left. I guess it's a kind of a puzzle. Here's some fresh frog's eggs. They haven't hatched out yet. See them? And there's salamanders or newts right there by. I'm pretty sure they feed on those frog's eggs, I think. Let me put my hand in there. Pick some of them up. There you can see all the little eggs. One of my difficulties with draining that down there is I don't want to shut this water off. If I had my drop structure unclogged down there, I could just let the water go through and the life would stay here, but it's hard to just shut a little bit of it off since the system is being restored and isn't really quite operative. The other thing down there, well, I've said this before, it's so hard to dig in that because it hasn't been grazed, and the plants that are there have formed a mat. It's almost like rope, and it's really hard to get through that. Now up here it's real easy, there's nothing to it because nothing has really grown all that deep up here. Well, it's not so much that it's deep down there, it's just thick. It's like a mat, and it's been like that for maybe 100 years. Wind blowing, which is nice, it'll dry things up. This is pretty nice soil right here. But I think what I've got right here is what they bulldozed off the top of this hill to cover up the mining. I'm pretty sure that's what this is here, whereas down there it's a whole lot more complicated situation. But each day I keep moving the water north, back toward the woods, till I get the whole hillside under control. And I work on that drain down there. This wind is rather exciting. It's been so rainy. It rained last night. I mean, it's one of the reasons this is hard to do right now. But I shut that hatch off. It did its job. I added about another 15 Zanja feet right there, and then an end hatch to let the water keep flowing and go down. And I've opened up a hatch here so it can be in the business of softening this ground. But the water, when it gets delivered down there, it's turned to the right by that ancient, well now ancient, 50, 60 probably year old logging that was done there when that logging road or skid road went up through there. I'll get it, but it's going to be a struggle, and I'll keep you involved as I work on it. What I like to see, there's Jim and Jam marking how far the water was yesterday, and you see it's going past. It's almost certainly going into the aqueduct. I'll go look in a minute. And there's that hoe that I keep here because it's more useful for clearing the bis out, Grandpa Jim bis. Yes, there's water the whole way here, and it is turning and going down into the aqueduct, but very, very slowly. There you can see it. If I muddy the water up, you can see it's flowing. So I'm really hoping that this summer, it'll have to be probably this spring, I can fill this. Aha, look here. There's level water. So the aqueduct is working. What I want to do is align it with material I already have. That's kind of a different story, but I want to do that while there's water in it. And if I can, I mean, if I had nothing else to do, I could start it today, but it's still coming across. And what's that? Well, that's a hose. I forgot I had this here. I'll get that out. I think this is filming. I can't see in the bright light. That was easy to pull out, and now I sort of remember. The hose will do the same thing as an aqueduct in a way, but what it works at, since it goes down in the saddle and back up, it's called an inverted siphon. And the trouble with inverted siphons is that they tend to clog up at the low spot. But as long as it's clear, you can use a hose as a level, and it would show, I probably was using it to show me just how high I could get the water on that side. I want to either out there where there's that little bit of an excavation, or else centered on here. I want to build put a very little water windmill to pump water. That's part of my plan, because by gravity alone I can't get higher than where that excavation is, and I'd like to be able to pump water